Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So there's been a lot of Wahoo around, especially up north. So a lot of guys are getting into the trolling planers and all that good stuff and using the single hooks with no wire. I think that's awesome. I don't use wire anymore. I quit using wire several years ago. Now I do use titanium from time to time. So, but even that, I'm trying to get away from it. And what I'm doing is, especially for my bait strips rigs, I'm using double hooks and I'm using single hooks. And guys, there are a ton of secrets still out there. And I'm going to give you one little secret today, especially for all you Bonito guys, okay, that troll that single long number 12 hook. You need to offset that hook, okay? You need to offset that hook, and that includes the double hooks that you use. When I use single hooks on, like with bait strips or with Bonito strips, those fish stick. They get stuck. Okay, and I'm also offsetting my ballyhoo hooks as well. So there are some tricks to doing it, and those are things that I teach in the Good Karma rigging cruise 1 and 2. So if you're interested in learning more about how I am running certain rigs and making changes to hooks, those are things that I'm teaching in the groups, okay? So, but that is one little tip that you guys can do where you're going to catch more fish. And there are some tricks to offsetting hooks, but, you know, I'm not going to get into all that stuff. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there that will show you how to offset a hook, okay? So when you buy those number 12 ballyhoo hooks that you guys are buying, or you're buying the number 7s and connecting them to make double rigs and all that other good stuff, just know that, especially with that double rig hook, that you just have to offset the last hook, okay? Just a little tip for you guys. Now, speaking of YouTube videos, Ryan Morey just dropped his video with Good Karma Sport Fishing here that we did. I think we did it back in June. And it's an awesome video. Love fishing with Ryan. And we've got some drone shots of the Sea Hunter. Now, I do not offer trips on the Sea Hunter, okay? So I offer trips on the Good Karma only. She's an awesome boat, and she catches a shitload of fish. Actually, she catches more fish than the Sea Hunter. I know that because I fish them both on a regular basis. So each boat has its own quality, and I love them both, but Good Karma is my baby, and she catches a lot of fish. So, but if you guys want to check out the video, it's on Ryan Morey Outdoors channel on YouTube. And like I said, I dropped some knowledge bombs in there with some mutton snapper fishing. I talk about leader lengths and all that other good stuff in there. So make sure you guys check it out, along with Ryan's other videos. There's a cool little rig in there that he uses for jigging for tuna. So that's something that we did on the hump, and it worked very well. So if you guys want to learn what we did, you got to watch the video. Something that I'm going to probably do a little bit here on Good Karma with here this fall. Speaking of Good Karma and this fall, now taking bookings for Wahoo fishing trips and tuna trolling and all that other good stuff is something that I love to do. We're getting new tackle set up, new techniques. We're coming at them differently this year. Every year I come at them a little bit differently. I learned a lot last year, and I make it a point to learn something every time I'm out there. And as far as like the word getting dialed in, you're never really dialed in because the ocean is changing so much, and so are the fish and what they see and how they act. And the fishing pressure is outrageous when it comes to Wahoo fishing. And you have like spear divers now like I've never seen, especially when it comes to Wahoo fishing. So, yeah. Speaking of diving, I was at the boat the other day, and it was mini season, day number 2. I thought we were going to get through without any shenanigans this year, and there they are diving in the middle of Tavernier Creek Marina. In the middle of Tavernier Creek underneath the bridge, and no dive flags, and boats are starting to pass through. They have no other boats around them, and all of a sudden this guy like is down underneath in the middle of the channel with no flag, and the boat's coming, and he flips up his fins. And I tried to warn the guy. Of course, they never listen. And next thing you know, the dive boat comes out, and he sees him luckily he sees him, and he's honking at him. And that was it. So finally, and then out of nowhere, a boat comes racing up Tavernier Creek and picks these guys up, which I thought was really bizarre. So the divers got out of the water with no injuries, which I'm happy to report. And then I got a call around 5 o'clock from Christina Vasquez, Local 10 News in Miami, and she asked if she could use the video. I'd sent the video to the qualified captains, because one thing about the qualified captains is that they do educate people. And that's what I'm all about. I want people to learn from other people's mistakes. And that's why I have this podcast, because I made a lot of mistakes, and I want people to learn from them so they don't do them. So I did send the video to the qualified captains. It's on their Instagram page as well, and you can check it out. And then Christina Vasquez used the video on the Local 10 News on Thursday night. It aired at 6 p.m. And I'll post a link in the show notes so you guys can watch it. It's pretty cool. They used it for training and just awareness, because there was a fatality in Miami off Boca Chica Key. Somebody was killed. So they're not sure if the diver had a dive flag up or what, but that just sucks. Plain out fucking sucks. So if you're coming down to go lobstering, please be safe. Follow all the rules and regulations, and make sure that you guys put up those dive flags, okay? Hate to see anybody get whacked, and it's not worth losing a life for, that's for sure. And this is a shout out to all you guys that are maximizing your minutes off the boat, okay? Which means that when it's raining, you guys are doing the work, okay? You guys are learning about power drifting, and you guys are learning about how to find fishing spots. You guys are listening to the podcast. You guys are maximizing your minutes, okay? So I have the courses available that you guys can spend time watching and learning how to find fishing spots. And I'm pretty open and honest in what I do in there. So I have a lot of respect for you guys that are like putting in the work. So keep on doing it. The results will come. And yeah, just remember, it's all about having fun when you're doing that as well. And like for me, I enjoy the research. That's what I am. It's about the science of fishing. And speaking of the science of fishing, I've got a couple new blogs out right now I want you guys to dig into. One is one I did on SATFISH. Now with SATFISH, I dropped a knowledge bomb in there about what I'm specifically looking for, and you can go back in. I just added that to the blog. So if you read the blog, I just added it last night. What specifically I'm looking for as far as temperatures this time of year, and as far as the temp breaks and all that good stuff. I also added the GPS location to where, I'm sorry, not the GPS location, but I took a picture of the screen of my GPS, and I added, I basically put where I found the weed line and the temperature breaks. And one thing I know for sure is that history repeats itself, and you'll want to take note on where that specific area is at so you can be successful when you go fishing as well, and just know that that might be a spot that you want to check out. So again, check out that blog. And what I'm super proud of is a new blog on the moon and the tides. And that one I'm going to continue adding to, and I'm going to do a little bit of adding on that maybe tonight or tomorrow, but it is lengthy and it is full of knowledge bombs. I give you guys like every possible thing I know about the moon, tides. It's a whole bunch of science in there, predicting fish patterns and migrations. So just check it out. Again, maximize your minutes, okay? If you're going to maximize your minutes, you're going to catch fish. So I'm going to leave you guys with a couple different stories here. When I was a young kid, I remember going to this tackle shop called the Big Minnow, okay? The Big Minnow is in Lake Holcomb, Wisconsin, and my grandparents had a summer home up there, and that's where I spent my summers. And that's really where I got a good look into what a fishing community is actually about, okay? Because I would spend months up there, meaning like I would spend my summers where most kids are like playing baseball and basketball, going to camps. I did not. I did a couple of the baseball and basketball camps, but I didn't do a whole bunch of them because I wanted to go fishing. So as soon as the camps would end, I would spend my months of like my last month before I would go back to school at my grandparents' house. A lot of my friends thought I was crazy, but my passion was fishing, and that's what I wanted to do. So I spent every waking minute jumping on that aluminum boat, and I would spend those days out in that hot sun with no T-tops, and I did not give a shit. it was hot and brutal up there, but I did not care. I loved to fish, and that's what I did. So there was an old timer that was in the next door to my grandparents' house. My grandfather, he was new to fishing. He retired, and all of a sudden he wanted to take up fishing, and fishing more seriously. He just he fished, but he didn't really know much. So, and but God bless him. But there was an old timer that lived next door, and he was really good. But I would go over there and talk to him, and I'd ask him some questions, and he basically would ignore me. So he wasn't sharing jack shit with me, and I didn't really get why. I didn't really understand the whole concept of why he wasn't sharing and why he was keeping the secrets. And I would go down and I'd watch him clean fish, and then over the course of the summers he would kind of say why, and he'd kind of hint at why I should do that, like he wasn't sharing. And I was kind of starting to grasp it the older that I got, is basically he wanted me to put in the work. And so what I did was I would go down there and I'd help him clean fish, I'd help him unload his boat, and I never asked him for anything after that. I was like, I kind of learned, I said, don't ask him. So I'd go down there and help him like unload his boat, and I would help him clean the fish. I'd say, hey, can you show me how to clean some fish? And he was more than happy to show me how to clean fish. He loved to clean fish. And then that was it for that summer. And then the next summer I'd go back and I'd go over there, I'd do the same thing, and then he would show me a fishing rig that he was using. And then he'd show me a little bit more, and that was it. He showed me a little bit. And then the next summer I would do the same thing. I'd go over there and help him unload his boat, ask him how he was doing, and he said, oh, he's getting a little bit older. I appreciated me helping him, and even more that summer. Like when I'd come back, he'd kind of wait for me to come over, because I knew he was just getting a little older now, and I was like, wow. And that's, so it was kind of like starting to hit home for me. And then he started showing me a little bit more. He pulled out a map one day, the old hotspots maps were still popular back then, and he showed me. He's like, hey, you need to this is kind of where you need to be in this general area, but I'm not going to share with you where exactly that I go, but this is kind of where you need to be. And I did that, and I started catching some nice fish. And I was like, wow. So then I started grasping it a little bit more. And I came back, I showed him the fish. He was so proud of me, and I was just like, oh shit. So the next summer I get back, and he's a little bit older, and now he's having some problems, and he's not going out every day. He would leave the dock every day, every morning. And I was like, always getting my dad, oh, we need to be out there before Walter gets out there. And all of a sudden, he's not going out in the mornings as much, or he's a little later to go out. And then I kind of knew something was going on. And so I'd go down there. He started teaching me a little bit more and a little bit more, and sharing with me more and more. And then next summer I got back there, and he passed away. And at that time I was like, oh my gosh, I not seen his boat go out and all that stuff. But when I got in the boat that summer after he had passed, I went to the same areas, and I remember him telling me those little bit of nuggets in that old boat dock shed, what to do, and everything just kind of clicked. And I started catching fish just like he did, and I was like, wow. And one thing that he did, when I was a little kid, still young, and he was I remember him, he gave me a piece of paper called that solar lunar chart, and I was like, oh my God. I remember running home to my dad, and my grandfather was like, oh, we need to be here at this time. This is when they're going to bite. And I remember one morning I get up, and it's they said the fish were going to bite at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I got up, and my grandparents had a little cabin, and the wood would creak on the floors and the doors would creak. And I remember grabbing my rod, trying to be quiet. And I walked down to the dock, and the moon was so bright. And my dad came down and said, what the fuck are you doing down here? And I said, the moon's right. Everything was right on the paper. Walter said I needed to be here at this, this is what I should be going by. My dad just shook his head, and he just left me there. So did I catch anything that night? Nah, just No, but I kept casting, and finally I kept casting. So, anyways, guys, you have to work and maximize your time, build relationships with people, spend your off time working on yourself mentally, practice, practice, practice. And I want to give a shout out to the guys that are booking Good Karma Saturdays with me. Those are one-on-one coaching calls. Those are, you can book an hour or more. And what you can do if you're interested in booking a Good Karma Saturday laser session with me, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. We've got the Good Karma Fishing Clubs 1 and Good Karma Fishing Clubs 2. Good Karma Fishing Club 1 next month, Nomad Secrets. There are a ton of secrets when it comes to nomads. A lot of you guys didn't know that, but there are. So we're going to be discussing that and a few other hard-bodied lures as well in the Good Karma Rigging Club 1. That's something that I will not be sharing publicly. So if you're interested in joining either Good Karma Fishing Club 1 or Good Karma Fishing Club 2, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. That's all I got. Follow me on Instagram for what's happening at Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL Keys. And if you want to book a trip with me this fall, now is the time, okay? So we are getting into Wahoo fishing season, blackfin tuna fishing. We're going to be doing some deep dropping, and we're getting back into black grouper fishing and all that other good stuff. So if you guys want to book a charter with me, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com for the fall and winter. So I encourage you guys to book ahead. That's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in, and remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good. Thanks, guys.